Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome to the Ango Show Live. My name is, of course, Ango. Today I'm joined by Billy TKO. Just a quick question. Can everybody hear me properly? Because I'm not using my studio mic, but instead I am chilling by the window as it rains on this beautiful Tuesday morning on January 6th, 2025. 26. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's 26, dude. Get it right. And of course, this guy decides the day that I'm ready to pull out the studio mic and make things look good. Here he comes with the lavalier mic. It's nerd talk for anybody who's wondering. I hear you loud and clear, Ango.
Beautiful. That's what I like to hear. Last night was Raw, and quite frankly, it was an interesting Raw.
Mm-hmm.
It's been definitely a controversial Raw because anytime things don't happen or things do happen, people got to complain. I have some very specific criticisms that I'm willing to talk about, but I actually thought overall the episode of Raw was solid. It was a solid Raw episode. But the problem is I'm tired of just solid Raws.
Yeah, that's fair.
I need more from WWE on Monday Night Raw. SmackDown felt like
a banger.
Yeah, like an absolute banger. And maybe it's expectations too.
Yeah,
maybe because we don't expect it as much
on SmackDown.
Right. But I do think there's a lot to uncover and unpack. So obviously we're going to be doing that. This chat, I'm going to be paying attention to the chat. I'm going to be paying attention to the super chats. I want to see what people got to say. Definitely a back and forth conversation is going to be had today.
Absolutely.
But Billy, before we talk about things specifically, before we break down things, piece by piece, whatever it may be, I want to know from you just your overall consensus of what you saw last night on Monday Night Raw.
So, first of all, hello everybody. Billy TKO, everybody's favorite WWE drone. Last night's Monday Night Raw. Man, I don't think e-drones are supposed to be upset. You know what I mean? But I am a tad bit upset. I think it kind of goes back to the word of expectation and the expectation that we create. And sometimes it's done by ourselves. You know what I mean? We create expectations ourselves, expecting maybe a little too much. Oftentimes that's something that just naturally happens. It's human nature. We all, I think, do it. And last night was one of those cases. We went into Monday Night Raw. I think everybody in this chat probably went into Monday Night Raw with expectations of something massive happening. And even if because obviously the thing that I'm hinting at here is obviously the expectation of a potential Chris Jericho return. Even with that being said, I don't even think that was just the case, though. I think there was expectations of the potential LA Knight thing or the Seth Rollins thing. But regardless of the fact, we build those things up in our mind. WWE never really credits or says, like, hey, this is going to happen. We just take things and we run with them, considering the Adam Pearce thing that just happened the other day, breaking the walls down. And later on, you find out that, apparently that was a mention of something else because of Stranger Things. Whatever. Yeah, come on now. Regardless of that fact, we build these expectations. And it's one of those, yesterday's Raw was one of those episodes where I felt like for what it was, going into it, it was a solid show. Like if you were to watch it without expectation, I think people would have enjoyed the show. I do believe, obviously there were some mishaps. The Maxine Dupree thing in that situation, I think, is a mishap. I think the way we did the main event could have potentially been a mishap. But regardless of that fact, the match during the main event was really good. Becky Lynch and Maxine inside of the ring did tell a story, and it was a really solid one. The Kabuki Warriors, Rhea Ripley, the Javon Evans signing, like there were so many good things that came out of Monday Night Raw, but it was the expectation that I believe a lot of people built in their mind that kind of set it back. And I can't speak for everybody because I know you probably have a different census on this situation, but regardless of that fact, I do believe that expectation killed that episode.
Yeah, I think expectations are just clearly the issue here.
Yeah.
When it comes to WWE programming, there's just this whole thing. It really started with Netflix a year ago. But we just have better expectations for Raw. It's the
Flagship
the
show.
show. It's the flagship show, and there's so much hype going into Netflix Raw episodes, and then I just feel like it's underwhelming.
Mhm.
Like, listen, bro, if there's anybody, I'll debate anybody. I'll bring them into the show right now and debate them on this. But like, you cannot be mad at the fact that Rhea Ripley and Io Sky beat Kairi Sane and Asuka. It was a good match. It was fun. It had its moments.
Mhm.
Um, Maxine and Becky. I mean, Maxine continues to improve. I thought that was solid storytelling. I think I like the way that Becky Lynch cheated.
Mhm. Yeah, it
Um,
was good.
we need Becky Lynch to be champion. If you guys want Maxine to be on this crazy IC title reign, you're an idiot. Like, uh, respectfully, of course, you're an
Mhm.
idiot because the storyline is bigger than Maxine. We're seeing Maxine's character development. We're seeing her improvement in certain areas, but for us, the big thing is obviously Becky and AJ,
Yeah.
which it clearly is a match being postponed until WrestleMania. But um, I felt like there was a lot of good that comes from those booking decisions. And I don't think WWE is making bad booking decisions on this episode. I just think there's like one thing that really drove me crazy.
Mhm.
And listen, maybe this is me being very what's the word that I'm looking for? Maybe this is me being a little too picky. WWE announces that Javon Evans is a new member of the Raw roster, but then they announce it literally during a commercial break. And for WWE, they love commercial breaks. They have a million commercial breaks on
Of
Netflix. But
course.
like,
Of course.
this is an NXT talent who is literally the future of the company. There's a lot of love for Javon Evans universally. It's not just the IWC, but even in the crowd, like fans love Javon Evans.
Mhm.
And this is an NXT talent that you're introducing to the main roster, and you announce that he's a member through a commercial break. Like, that's a ridiculous thing, in my opinion. Like, you want to introduce NXT talent properly, you want to have them come in with a big bang. Look at what we're seeing with NXT and SmackDown, and then look at NXT to Raw. And it's just a night and day difference. SmackDown does way better with these call ups than Raw. And I don't know if I blame Netflix. I don't know what the hell it is, but these commercials, to utilize a call up like that for somebody who is universally loved, that's a big moment that should have been live on television. I'm
Mhm.
so happy Javon Evans is part of the main roster, but like that right there, like, really pissed me off. And I will say, for WWE, when you do an episode like this where there's all that hype, imagine what it would have been like if you actually had a segment for Javon Evans to get called up properly. It just would have been so much better. And I think WWE really dropped the ball there.
Yeah, that's actually something that I heavily agree with. I mean, I made a video talking about it. The Javon Evans situation, it's like that's your guy. You know what I mean? He's somebody that you guys have told us time and time again that you really believe in. You know what I mean? You've shown us numerous times he was a free agent. I mean, that's it, it's insane that we did it. And you asked the question of like, is it a Netflix thing, or who does it go to? I think it is a Netflix thing, and I think the reason why SmackDown maybe produces things like that better is because of the fact that they can't do them on commercial breaks because they're not seen on commercial break. You know what I'm saying? Versus Netflix, where a lot of people can still see them on commercial break, but not everybody can, and that's not something that they're taking into account. Like you said, they had the opportunity to make that a massive moment, and they just didn't.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that was a big dropped ball.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, everybody has their own opinions. I know Tolino Channel dropped a 200 Indian rupee super chat. Shout out to Tolino Channel. I miss you, bro. It's good to see you back in the streams. He says Raw was the strange thing. The crowd was a letdown. Dupree versus Becky was weak. More promos over PLE card matches. Just Gunther and Styles and main event wrestling was the only positive. Y2J was just selling tick.
Was just a
Um,
selling tick, I can imagine, to sell
yeah,
the show.
I listen. I mean, I like the Chris Jericho teases. We did hear a couple of them throughout the night.
Mhm.
The big Chris Jericho tease, obviously in the main event, the learning tree of Paul Heyman. This is what WWE does. They're going to tease people, and
Mhm.
that's what WWE is going to do. I'm
Yeah.
not even mad that Chris Jericho didn't return last night.
I
Like,
no, me either. I'm not either.
it's always fun when I come up with these cool theories, and some people like them, some people don't. I don't
Right.
really give a shit. But like, when I came up with those theories and it started to go a little bit crazy on social media, the reality is this: you come up with fantasy booking, it gets 140,000 views overnight.
Suddenly it becomes
People,
expectation.
suddenly it becomes expectation, and the IWC, shame on you, because I mean
it's never expectation, or it's never like solidified. It's never somebody saying like, oh yeah, this is what is going to happen and this is how it's going to happen. It's fantasy booking. It's fun. That's what this
yeah.
is all about at the end of the day. And I know that pisses some people off. Like I've gotten numerous comments over the years of just, oh, fantasy booking is horrible. You should just wait for everything to happen. It's like, no, dude, that takes away the fun from wrestling.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing I love about wrestling, is the ability to fantasy book.
Correct. That's
So
what
like,
makes it exciting.
so I kind of, in my opinion, I kind of was like fine with the fact that he wasn't on there, because I knew obviously fantasy booking. But like the thing that I had a problem with though is like, okay, you don't have Chris Jericho, that's fine. But you go from a SmackDown where you introduce this talent in Jordan Grace and you do all these things in these segments. You're on Netflix, bro. You couldn't even match that energy.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I mean, Toledo Channel in the super chat, he said, Raw was a strange thing. And it's like, it really was. Like, dude, that episode, you had the opportunity to make it massive and you just didn't. You under delivered rather than over delivered, which is, not something that should often be said about your flagship show. You know what I mean? Especially that what is supposed to be the anniversary episode, and so many different things and variables that they had going into last night. And of course, the main event was phenomenal. I've seen some people in the chat like they love the main event. Me too. I agree. That main event was amazing. Obviously, I believe that people will have questions about it, but it was done really well. But regardless of that fact, like, you had every opportunity to make yesterday a really big show. And it's not like every week has to be this big, massive overproduction, but the times that you do the overproduction, that should be your opportunity to give people the swerves and the crazy things that wouldn't actually happen on a regular episode of Monday Night Raw.
It's so funny that the things that we complain about these days compared to the things that we complain about Vince McMahon, like his booking.
Oh, dude.
Like a perfect example of this is like, if you watch Raw, the booking is logical and it makes sense. We're not getting like stupid ass like things that don't make sense. We're not messing with people's like actual
intelligence.
Yeah. But like, the one thing that Triple H was always so good at was the surprises, the teases.
Look at the
taking people for a roller coaster ride on the journey. And like, I feel like maybe, and I'm gonna say it, and fuck it, I don't care. I'm starting to see some complacency with this Raw writing team, and shame on them. And I don't know if this is a Netflix thing. I swear to God, I don't know if it's because, like, here's the thing, like, it's like you said, like, especially with the Stranger Things, like, bro, Stranger Things is the biggest show in the world. And in addition to it being the biggest show in the world globally, like, we're talking about a crossover where people are like, hey, I want to see what this looks like.
Right.
And they nailed it. They nailed the presentation. They nailed the graphics and the transitions and the things of that nature. Why not take advantage of it with that shock factor? Bro, we used to have Matt Riddle opening up Raw, brawling with people. Like, where is that level of WWE television? Why are we not getting it these days? And it makes no sense to me, because SmackDown was so good, but then I watch Raw and I'm like, damn, it just feels a little weird.
Yeah, no, dude. I mean, I think you make a really good point. It's like, you look at the things that we complain about, it's night and day. You know what I mean? Obviously, Vince is such a different person than what Triple H was. And, it's not saying that Triple H is doing the worst job on planet Earth, because he's not. Let's be real with ourselves. We've seen much worse, right? But like you said, I think there's a level of complacency, and you don't necessarily know where it stems from or who it comes from, or you just know that Triple H is at the helm of it. So the only thing that you can actually elaborate is Triple H is getting complacent, right?
Yeah.
And with that being said, like you said, what happened to the Matt Riddles and I remember there was an episode of like the Miz and somebody else brawling, and maybe Logan Paul, I can't remember. But that like immediately kicked off the show, and it's like, dude, WWE just stopped that. And it's like, why? What is the reasoning for that? And I know that there's some news that recently came out, and Ango, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it does look like there is going to be a new head writer when it comes down to these things. So I am wondering if maybe this picks up potentially, because it is the person, I forget his name, that was writing back in like the SmackDown Live 2016 time, which was obviously a really massive time for SmackDown individually.
Yeah, so basically what happened was Triple H is the head of creative, Ryan Ward basically oversees Raw and
Ryan
SmackDown.
Ward, thank you. Yeah.
And then on SmackDown, it's Ed Koskey and Bruce Pritchard. Or excuse me, Ed Koskey. No. Ed Koskey and Bruce Pritchard, I believe, are on Raw. And then SmackDown is Road Dogg Jesse James and like John Sawatka or something like that is, I believe, the name. But they've made this change that has been like, I don't know how to explain it, bro. I think like low key, I'm there's things I love about Raw on Netflix, but I feel like since Raw on Netflix, they're losing a little bit of their touch, and I don't know what it is. There's just something missing, and it really, really pisses me off. Now, I do want to point out on this super chat as well. Toledo Channel mentioned just Gunther and Styles and main event wrestling was the only positive. I love what they did with Gunther and AJ Styles.
Amazing.
I love one thing that I really love too is like WWE's production, because they do this segment and then they go backstage and Gunther goes to like talk to Adam Pearce and AJ interrupts him and he's calling him a bitch and all this shit. And like, I really love that. And then I love how they did all of that. And I'm excited for that because it's a first time ever match and that's going to be next week. So like, that's exciting. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like there's things that they get right. It's just, again, how many times am I going to say it on these live streams? They're missing some form of super excitement. And listen, let's be real. If Chris Jericho showed up last night, people would have a different tune. But
for sure, bro.
That alone would have changed everybody's tune. But
yeah.
It's like, I just feel like they could have done a little bit better last night in bringing some excitement. But it's not just last night. Overall, there needs to be a creative overhaul on Raw. They need to be a little bit more creative because I think, genuinely speaking, if we keep getting episodes like we just got with SmackDown, Raw is going to get shit on every week. And for your flagship show to have that happen on Netflix, like this should be the show that's like, the Raw on Netflix should destroy pretty much any other WWE program.
Yeah, it should destroy NXT and it should destroy SmackDown because that is your flagship show. It's the one that you've invested the most money into.
Yeah. I'm starting to get the impression that that's not going to change. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just starting to get the impression.
They can come out next week, and it again, kind of like you said, we could be singing a whole different praise on Monday Night Raw. You know what I mean? But right now, from the looks of it, no, it doesn't look like it's going to change. It looks like it's going to continue to be stagnant. It's going to continue to be the same. It's going to continue to be just, I mean, I hate to say it, it's mediocrity.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't get comfortable in mediocrity. That's for sure.
Right.
Brian McCaddy, shout out to Toledo Channel for the super chat. Brian McCaddy dropped $5. He says, main event done well, but a huge setback in the Breaker character with a clean pin after the interference and assistance. And that's why I keep calling it a failure. I don't know why I'm getting ridiculed so much on social media for this. I feel like it's kind of common sense. Like, this is your number one group on Raw. This is a guy who is absolutely killing things, and there's such a strength. And yeah, I get it. Dragon Lee and Penta came out and made the save. But to see Bron Breakker as a heel suffer a clean loss like that, I don't like it. He had the advantage and he still lost against like a 60-year-old CM Punk with great beard.
All right.
I love CM Punk, dog, but let's be real. People, listen, you know, the problem is this, Billy. I'm going to explain it to you in a way hopefully you understand.
Yeah.
People want to bitch and complain that WWE Unreal is killing kayfabe, but what the fuck is this? Bron Breakker is a genetic freak, and he's losing to CM Punk. I mean, visually speaking, it's not good.
No,
you want me to pretend like wrestling is real? Well, then make me a believer out of this, because for every person who's bitching and complaining about WWE Unreal, what is this? We have a genetic freak like Bron Breakker going out there, losing after having his men go out there and get involved, and he still loses by pinfall. Yeah. You couldn't do anything to make it different. You couldn't do anything to be more creative here. Yet I get shit on by these freaking dweebs in my comments. These guys who strictly come to my videos just to hate on me. Not my fans, not our fans, not the people that love us, but the dweebs that sit there and they just troll and they hate. These are the people that sit there and say these things, but I don't get it, bro. This was I think Brian McCaddy hit it right on the head, bro.
For sure. I mean,
what a terrible visual.
Yeah, so this is where things in my mind get a little bit tricky, right? Because I hear what you're saying, And I
Yeah.
hear what Brian's saying here too, because it does make a lot of sense. Like Bron Breakker is this genetic freak. He is obviously, just supposed to be this big monster. But then you look at the match that took place, and the match was done really well. So we're not upset about the good match that they had, but rather upset about the clean finish.
Yeah.
But then we have to ask this question. Okay, we're kind of drawing this line of like, okay, AEW, they often put on good professional wrestling matches. And oftentimes it's the story that people complain about. Well, in WWE, it's that they do the story really well, but oftentimes it's the wrestling that they complain about. And then last night, what happened is WWE put on a really good professional wrestling match. And because the story didn't necessarily fit the narrative that maybe people wanted them to originally fit, then it's a problem because, hey, Bron Breakker is this genetic freak. He is this beast. Why is he losing clean to a guy who's 60 years old? Well, dude, that's the same question on why Samoa Joe was going out there and having a match with CM Punk and losing. It's the same story regurgitated. And I know Samoa Joe is also 40 or 50, so it's hard to compare, but he's a bigger gentleman rather than CM Punk. You know what I mean? Wrestling is never supposed to be about this whole believable sense. I understand that we want things to be believable and we want them to be real, but let's be real here. CM Punk at the end of the day is bigger than Bron Breakker today. You're building Bron Breakker, and that's why you have him go out there and have a good match against CM Punk, because now you've shown a side of Bron Breakker that maybe people didn't see before, because again, he just looked like this genetic freak. Well, no, Bron Breakker is actually a really good wrestler. And guess who found that out last night? I did. So I understand where people are upset, and I'm not saying that people are wrong for being upset, but I guess the point that I'm trying to prove here is that, hey man, let's pick and choose where we're complaining. You know what I mean? Instead of being upset that he lost, the way that he lost, let's just be upset at maybe the story could have been told differently. Does that make sense?
They needed to do something different with Bron Breakker there. There's no way to sugarcoat it. There is no way to sugarcoat it.
I really want to call out Mike in the chat. He said, following that logic, Daniel Bryan should have never been champion.
Correct.
Do you think that Daniel Bryan should have never been champion?
I don't think people realize the comparison that's being made. I think is a very valid comparison.
Yeah,
I've been on record not being the biggest Daniel Bryan fan. What made me a fan of Daniel Bryan was not. I thought his comedy stuff with Team Hell No is like my favorite.
Yeah,
Daniel Bryan
that
thing.
stuff was fun.
As far as being a world champion, yeah, I think you can look at it from multiple perspectives, but I think visually speaking, you have to you have to pick and choose your battles. I don't complain about WWE Unreal because I know that wrestling, kayfabe, all that, it's bullshit.
It exists. Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's broken, it's done with, it's gone, it's whatever.
Right.
So for me personally, the way I look at it is I don't like the visual of an old CM Punk cleanly beating Bron Breakker after he had advantage. Because we talk about logic, explain that logic to me. I don't get the logic there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if CM Punk had LA Knight make the save and help CM Punk, like if he took out Bron Breakker, for example, and CM Punk got the win, that would have been a little bit better.
So let me ask you this now. Okay, if that does make it better, why is it that CM Punk just can't be a defending champion? Because you just kind of said it, that kayfabe is dead. You're right, kayfabe is dead. It died with the Unreal situation. It died well before that.
Yeah.
Why can't he just be a defending champion and be a world champion? Because he's a world champion. And I know that CM Punk isn't the greatest pro wrestler in the world. I never thought that. But what I do think is he's one of the greatest storytellers. And even yesterday during that match, that ending visual, if you look at that visual of Bron Breakker sitting there, the way that he sat outside of the ring and CM Punk was standing on the ropes, that reminded me of something. It reminded me a lot of the Cody Rhodes situation, the way that Cody Rhodes sat. Why
Okay.
can't CM Punk just be a good defending champion?
Okay. Turn Braun Breaker babyface. He's not a babyface.
Okay, then you're right. Maybe they do go down that rabbit hole of making him a babyface.
Did you feel sympathy for Cody when that happened and you saw that shot of him in disappointment?
Of course.
Okay. Do you feel sympathy for Braun Breaker?
Yes.
You do? Because I think he's been a piece of shit on WWE TV for the last several months.
But because of these conversations, this is where I feel the sympathy. Because instead, he is just being looked at as this horrible, I can't believe that we did this to this guy, things of that nature, when that's not necessarily the case. Braun Breaker put on a great performance last night.
He did. He should be babyface, not a heel.
Exactly. So maybe that is the conversation that we should be having of why is he a heel and why is he not a babyface after you just did what you did?
Because he took out Seth Rollins. He's a Paul Heyman guy. The Vision is a heel
Seth
group.
Rollins even being taken out, I'm still going to boo Seth Rollins when he gets back because regardless, if you remember that promo that he cut that day, I don't need you. I don't need you. I'm better than you.
Okay, Billy. The point that I'm trying to make is that he wasn't a babyface going into this match.
For sure. Absolutely. I agree 100%. I know the point that you're trying to make with
if
that.
If it was a thing where he's a babyface, maybe he got a little too cocky, maybe he got a little too ahead of himself.
He did get ahead of himself.
But if he was a babyface and he got a little too ahead of himself, that visual makes a lot of sense. It doesn't make sense when he just had his jabronis go beat up some other guys.
I do see where you're coming from in that sense.
It's all about perspective, and my perspective is he looks weak. And I think he is 100% looking weak in this situation because he has been built up as this next giant. He's been built up as this next big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it that way. And by the way, Braun Breaker wasn't protected, but how much effort does WWE put into protecting Cody Rhodes against Drew McIntyre?
Oh, quite literally.
They will do everything to protect 40-year-old Cody Rhodes against Drew McIntyre
over 28-year-old Braun Breaker. I see where you're coming from. I will not argue that, and I think that's a very fair argument.
It disturbs me, bro.
Yeah, I mean that's a very fair argument to have because they didn't do the best to protect him.
Brian, continue. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say because Brian dropped another super chat for $5, and he says Breaker is being pushed as the next giant in WWE, and to lose cleanish, I guess the Rock is strapped to his back, just ran out of fuel. And I swear, I feel like that's the perfect sentiment. And by the way, Braun Breaker could win the Royal Rumble. They could fix this. They could go to WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
But he's a heel. So how do I it doesn't make sense when he's a heel. Make him a babyface if that's the case.
Yes. So if they went out and they made him a babyface, would we be holding a different conversation?
I mean, literally the only thing I would do, and maybe the chat, you could let me know what you think, but in this particular case, the way I'm kind of looking at it, in all honesty, and I swear maybe this is controversial, I would have Austin Theory and Seth Rollins beat up Braun Breaker, and
yeah, that's like the simple fact. That's what I've been saying.
Like I would have I would have the Vision turn on Braun Breaker. I would have Seth Rollins come back to the Vision without Braun Breaker in the group.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That would be the easiest way to do it. You could do it that exact same way. And if you kind of look at it, maybe that is the story that they're telling, considering that Austin Theory was brought in by Paul Heyman. And obviously Paul Heyman, he doesn't really make sense with the things that he does sometimes. He wanted Seth kicked out, but maybe Seth wanted this and wanted Braun to turn on him. Like there's a story that can be told there. You know what I mean? It's just how they go about it.
They have to figure that out. I really do think they have to figure that out. But I feel let down, and I feel like it was a failure. And I feel like WWE failed Braun Breaker last night, and I'm not going to change my mind on that. And I think definitely WWE kind of screwed up there. There's always ways to fix it, but I just think the visual, it's crazy. I think it's crazy to see that visual, and I think I made the best argument with the Cody Rhodes situation.
Yeah, that was a really good argument. I'm not. Excuse me, I can't really argue that situation because you're absolutely right. They've been protecting 40-year-old Cody Rhodes. We also do have to remember, though, and this is the only thing that I will say, is that the 40-year-old Cody Rhodes is established.
Brother, we're in the business of establishing new people. That's the business they should be in.
Correct. I agree.
Honestly, I think that's really what we need. And I think we need to get to the point where WWE just gets better. at certain things. And this is one of those areas where WWE has to figure it out.
For sure.
I don't know how you sit there in good conscience and do this. And by the way, like, I can criticize every wrestling company, but I'm literally criticizing WWE for something that they do so well with on SmackDown with another champion. Why don't you invest that into Braun? It doesn't. I can't fathom the idea, Billy. I
Well, I
cannot
guess the
fathom
thing
that
is
idea.
Bron Breaker's not the champion.
And so the thing is, again, I go back to the word sympathy. You were feeling sympathy, but he's a heel. You shouldn't feel sympathy for this dickhead on WWE television.
Right.
And that's where I think WWE has like this weird issue where I don't think they thought it through. And again, I think WWE, what they really need to do when you look at these writing teams that are involved, and this is a lesson for every professional wrestling company. This is for TNA, NWA, WWE, AEW. Start bringing in some young, fresh blood into your creative meetings, because I think what I'm starting to realize with these wrestling companies is that there's a lot of people who are old people in suits, and they're one way of thinking. You need to freshen things up.
Yeah, you need to get two-dimensional with it.
Yeah, really quick, I want to say shout out to Brian McCaddy for both of those super chats. Moving forward, I'm going to remove some people from our chat because I realize that you're not actually making this a fun experience for our viewers. So what's going to happen is you are going to be banned from the chat and from the live streams moving forward.
Beautiful.
And
Get them out of here.
I'm not hesitating. I'm seeing the chat. People are very upset with a few people, and fuck that, bro. I want everybody to enjoy themselves in these chats. So, sayonara, pieces, deuces,
Get
au
up out of here.
revoir.
Wipe your
Later.
hands clean with it.
Holy shit, bro. If you can't contribute to the chat and have fun, everybody's talking wrestling, and you just want to sit there and yap on some bullshit tribalistic stuff,
bro.
I'm taking you out.
Be
I
a
don't give a
fucking
fuck.
normal human, dude. It ain't
I don't
that
need
hard.
the viewers. Shout out to Brian McCaddy for those super chats. Tolino Channel dropped 100 rupees. He says the vision needs a purpose now. Instead of being Bron's sidekick, the three guys need to be part of mid-card and tag team division like TNA Main Event Mafia. Yeah, I agree with this, actually. I think Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed would have actually been very fun to be in the tag team division for a while before Bron Breakker goes the singles route. I don't know what WWE wants to do there, but what I will say is I like the idea of Theory and Bronson Reed tag teaming, or Theory and Logan Paul tag teaming. I think there's a lot of things you could do. But Tolino Channel, it's very hard to argue against this. I think right now the thing, if I were WWE, I would probably just try to kick Bron Breakker out and let him go the babyface route, and then build the division up, going for singles gold and tag team gold. I'd be completely fine with that. I don't know how you feel, Billy, but please
I
feel
agree.
free to.
I agree. I can understand that. I'd really like to see, like you said, the potential of Bronson Reed and Austin Theory in the tag team division. I definitely think that's something that they should have started with in the beginning. I feel like that to really establish them and really get them off the ground, you have them in the tag team division. I don't necessarily know why WWE didn't do that, but I think we're well beyond that now, as messed up as that sounds. We're kind of in the situation that we are now. And going back to the conversation that Ango and I just had, talking about Bron Breakker, like that's kind of where we lie. And I think we have new problems ahead of us that need to be figured out and got to, if you will. So I think the story is no longer about the tag team division, rather than it is telling the story of where does Bron Breakker fit into the vision now, and how do these other three members, how do they fit in this quote unquote vision. So I do think that that's like the biggest conversation that needs to be held. Again, I do believe that, man, that would have been great for them, but I just don't think we're there now.
Yeah, I got to see something change.
Yeah, something has to change, and I think that's a fair thing that everybody can agree on. I know, maybe differences of opinions on how things went or whatever the case is. Something does need to change. Something needs to happen. Something needs to be fixed.
Yeah. Shout out to Tolino Channel for the super chat. We got another super chat from AMUM3TH for $5, and he says, "Hi guys. At one point, I thought Seth was returning and costing Bron Breakker the match by stomping him. That would have been, and I even talked about it in my clips that you guys might see. But I talked about the idea of, like, it would be a really fascinating story to see Seth Rollins do it, but because he has beef with CM Punk.
Yeah, it's so this is there was because AM I'll be honest with you. There was I remember the exact moment where I thought it was going to happen. It was when Austin Theory went for the stomp.
Yeah.
That was the moment I was like, "Oh, he's about to stomp Bron Breakker." And they're going to start telling that story.
I thought it would have been really cool when he was doing the what is it called? The what's his submission? God dang it.
The
CM Punk's
the
Anaconda Vice.
Anaconda Vice, thank you.
When he was doing the Anaconda Vice, I was like, man, that would have been really cool if Seth Rollins just cost the match.
Maybe you stomp both of them.
Well, I don't know how he would have done that, but if he would have done a stomp, like
you can just stomp both their heads.
I would have loved it. I look, he's probably not ready for a return. I don't know.
No, I don't think he is. He said it, probably not ready until like February.
Yeah, but I think like that could have been a really good thing, and Seth costing Bron Breakker the match would have been the right call. Because again, that whole story of, okay, well, how does Seth feel about Punk? He hates Punk. He's not doing it for Punk, but now they have similar interests. And what's that saying? It's like an enemy, a friend of an enemy, or
the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah, something like that. And like, could have kind of been a cool little story to tell.
Yeah,
I don't
guess
know.
It's just hard because I talked about this in a video. There's still so much fresh blood. Like, this is gonna sound silly, but the Braun, or excuse me, not the Braun Breaker, but the Seth Rollins and CM Punk thing is still unfinished. Like, if you really look back at the situations that have occurred, yeah, I know we got the match last year on Raw in the debut episode, but look at how much WWE has really tried their absolute best to really get that match at like a WrestleMania. They still have yet to do that. And I think they're still trying to maneuver that. I said it in my prediction video of what I thought was going to happen in 2026. I really think that they have to close that curtain between CM Punk and Seth Rollins before we go delve into the Seth Rollins Braun Breaker thing. I've always kind of been in belief in that. And I don't know necessarily how they do it because I understand how hard the situation would actually be right in this moment because of the situation with Braun Breaker and how fresh that is. But WWE, I know, wants that main event match at a WrestleMania. And I feel like this is going to be the year where they have to do it and sell it. You know what I mean? And I think they're going to do that before anything. So as much as I agree with you in the sentiment of like, yeah, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, that's not necessarily the case with these two because of how much turmoil and how much hatred has been created.
So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
We're going into Royal Rumble season.
Yeah.
I think it's very easy for us to make predictions, and this is not a prediction, but video by any means. But the safe option is obviously Roman challenging Cody.
Mm-hmm.
Winning the Rumble, challenging Cody. That's the safest Royal Rumble option.
Yeah.
But I kind of wonder if maybe we could do something at the Rumble where it leads to maybe a multi-man match for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yes, sir. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Now, I don't want to see a triple threat, personally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather see a fatal four-way at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Braun Breaker. There's only one person I could think of that should be in the main event with them. LA Knight.
Yeah.
And we didn't get his return last night.
Nope.
So would you rather see the Royal Rumble winner go after Cody and then WWE sets up a multi-man match through the chamber or whatever,
Yeah.
Or would you rather see a Royal Rumble winner be like Braun Breaker and then challenging Punk?
No, I'm actually in the belief that we go after Cody. I think WWE maybe needs to follow that trend of like last year, Jay went after the World Championship. Maybe this year we have the winner go face the WWE Championship. That way the Royal Rumble doesn't feel like it's stagnant to one specific brand. You know what I'm saying? And this is just one of those circumstances. And my thought process is that you can create a multi-man match, and I think it works. But again, I think that still creates that problem that we talked about way earlier in the show of like, what's the word that I'm looking for here? It creates that problem of, well, shit, if LA Knight doesn't win, then damn, here goes LA Knight again. Or if Braun Breaker doesn't win, damn, here goes Braun Breaker again. Or if Seth Rollins doesn't win, oh shit, maybe we need to give it to Seth. I think that's the problem that it continues to create. And we go back to those lining questions of, damn, man, it would have been really cool to see Bron Breakker win last night, but they didn't, and maybe we needed to do it differently. Well, I think that problem continues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In that kind of multi-man match. I love the idea of it. I think WWE, what they need to do, and this is my personal opinion, again, these are just kind of fun fantasy booking things. In my opinion, what WWE needs to do, they need to go back to the drawing board. And when I say the drawing board, we need to go back to the slate where it's just Seth Rollins and CM Punk. We need to finish that off at WrestleMania, right? Especially if he comes back in February, because then you still have time to build it. You know the history that they have. At the end of the day, the Bron Breakker situation sucks, but at the World Heavyweight Championship is more important than Bron Breakker in this moment in time. So what I would do if I were WWE, I would go back to that drawing board, go to Seth Rollins, go to CM Punk, have that happen. I would then maybe have somebody like Seth Rollins win back the title. You can even keep the title with CM Punk, whatever you choose to do. At SummerSlam, what I would do is I would give the title to Bron Breakker. And then I would let that be the new thing going forward, because then you've just fixed 3 problems all at once. Yeah. You fixed the Seth Rollins CM Punk problem that needs to be answered. You now have a world champion and you know where it's going to lead to in their story that builds up to SummerSlam. Then you give it to a fresh new face and let him be the guy moving forward.
Yeah.
That's how I would do it, me personally.
I find that to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's in my head, that makes the most sense. And I get it. People will be upset. Oh, shit, Bron Breakker's, we're going to have to go past WrestleMania. We're going to have to wait as long as we have, blah, blah, blah.
That's the thing. I just found the word I was looking for. Premature.
Yeah. Premature, correct.
It feels like a very premature push for Bron Breakker.
For sure, absolutely. And I think that's why if you give it to him at WrestleMania, you let him have some good, strong feuds. You know, maybe he doesn't necessarily need the world championship, and now that he's lost, right, you can kind of have him linger behind, but still want the championship. You know what I mean? And again, you answer the Seth Rollins and CM Punk problem, because that is something that they want. And I'm not naive to that. They can't just be friends. There is too much hatred there.
You know what I think they should do? And this is like a fun little fantasy booking thing. I would have a way for WWE to audible.
Yeah.
Call an audible here. Have Seth Rollins go after Punk.
Mm-hmm.
Close the chapter on Punk and Rollins for good.
Yeah.
Roman versus Rollins at WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yep.
What I would do is have... Or excuse me. Time out. Reverse.
Go ahead.
Roman versus Cody for the championship, WrestleMania Night 2.
Mm-hmm.
LA Knight returns for the Royal Rumble, wins the Royal Rumble, challenges for the world title, which would be held by Seth Rollins at that point. I would have Seth Rollins lose because of Bron Breakker, and LA Knight wins the world championship. And if I'm fantasy booking, the idea would be LA Knight holds the world title, Bron Breakker wins Money in the Bank and cashes in on LA Knight.
Yeah.
And I think maybe this could be a way of like calling an audible and making it, I don't know. There's a lot of things I would have to sit there and think about it, but I would like to I want to get LA Knight a world championship opportunity just for something.
For sure.
I would rather have LA Knight hold the belt and have Bron Breakker tear his hopes and dreams apart and make the WWE universe so mad because everybody wants LA Knight to win it. You should have saved Bron Breakker's push until Money in the Bank. He could have cashed in. AM dropped another super chat for $2 and said, but there's another problem coming up, Oba Femi. We don't know if Oba's on Raw or SmackDown.
Don't know yet.
We don't know if he's going to be carrying the NXT Championship tonight.
Right, exactly. I think you have the Cody Rhodes situation with Oba Femi later down the line. So I think you put him on SmackDown. You put Javon on Raw, you put Oba on SmackDown. That's how I would do it.
Oba has to dethrone Cody.
Yeah, I mean, that's the right guy to do it. I think that's a fair statement.
You know, this is the year that Oba Femi should win the Royal Rumble.
Jeez, oh, Pete, brother.
I'm just so tired of WWE playing it safe. It's so easy to rely on Seth
I've
Rollins
been
and
saying that.
Punk
Yeah, dude, it
and
is.
Cody and Roman.
So easy.
So easy to play it safe. And my God, WWE would have a better product. It's a good product, but they would even have a better product if they just focused on something new.
I seen somebody say he's green. I beg to differ. Dude,
Ah,
yeah, I beg
ah,
to differ on that one. He's green. Have you heard them promos?
bro. Obafemi is one of those guys where it's
Dude, he cut that one promo. He was like, when man needed water, they sent the meteor. I was like, oh Lord.
bro. The thing about Obafemi that I love so much is that if he opened up his arsenal of moves, I would hate him more.
Right? Yeah. Hell yeah.
Like the Brock Lesnar comparison is there not
Dude.
because he's this big monster. It's because he could go out there, throw a guy around, and destroy him quickly, and then that's the
And
beast.
like, bro, he is like, dude, you want to talk about believable? He is quite literally the one person that I believe could beat up anybody on that roster any given night. I'm telling you right now, Obafemi, green is not the word. That man is well beyond green.
They have their next heel, their next big heel. And not that Obafemi is like this, he could be a babyface too,
Yeah.
but he could be such a great heel for the company when Brock is gone. And I do really believe Gunther is going to retire. Gunther is going to retire Brock Lesnar, but that should be safe for Obafemi. That should be like the passing of the torch between two giants, but WWE won't do that.
Two dominant natures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to AM for the super chat. Brian McHattie came through with another super chat. Where is it at? Did I click it? Oh, yeah, I did. Sorry. Brian McHattie dropped $5. Could they be cooling Bron off to keep the nuclear heat on Gunther and not distract from it since they're on the same show? No, I mean, well, dude, if you're WWE, what you do is build Gunther off to be this amazing heel and Braun Breaker to be your next John Cena babyface, like future of the company,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Braun Breaker versus Gunther, we've seen it before. We know what they're capable of, and it was exciting. Yeah. That's some WrestleMania main event, bro. But again, we're still stuck to the CM Punks and the Codys and the Romans and the Rollins.
Yeah, we're not changing anything. Again, the beginning of this stream of, man, we are complacent.
I love WWE, but man, just sometimes it's like you could do a little bit different. And WWE is the company that plays it safe. AEW is the company that takes risk. I think when AEW plays it safe, they are better. And I think when WWE takes a risk, I think they're better. It's like vice versa.
You're right. It's a vice versa thing.
But I don't know, man. I don't know. I think listen. Have Braun transition to a babyface. Have him leave the Vision. Have Theory lead the Vision.
Hell yeah, dude, because people have had problems with the Theory situation where they're like, oh, we don't know if he's got it. We don't know. Let's pull the gloves off and let's find out if he's got it.
What if Theory pulls the strings and he gets everybody to turn on Braun Breaker? Wow. In a way that could be...
That fixes the problem.
And that could be a very fun storyline, and
yeah.
I don't know, just something about this. It's weird. The women in WWE are being booked so well. The mid card titles are being booked well.
Yeah.
And it's just WWE playing it safe. And me and you have had this conversation before, but it was a very, very fun, chaotic time for WWE when they were booking The Rock and Cody and Roman and Seth Rollins, because it was like, damn, you guys are really taking a big risk here and you're doing something creative and crazy and weird and so different. And then after that, it feels like WWE went back to playing it safe. And I just think they need to take a little bit of a bigger risk here, because Stranger Things Raw was not very exciting. It was good, but it wasn't exciting.
Right.
But I'm sitting there watching SmackDown being like, they fucking
nailed it. They nailed it.
They nailed it. They took me on a whirlwind of emotions on SmackDown. And the thing about SmackDown is like, U.S. title open challenge every week. You're letting guys go out there, wrestle.
Yep.
And do these things. And I'm watching Raw and it's like,
We did
Where
not do
what?
that.
Yeah, like I don't know,
We
and
did
I feel
not
like
do that.
it's the Netflix curse, bro. I don't know, and
Bro,
I
it
love
might be.
Netflix. It feels like it. It
It
feels
does. It does.
it's really strange because the excuse on the first episode of Netflix on Raw was, okay, this is them introducing themselves, telling people what they are,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what's your excuse 1 year later?
Because they know who you are now.
What is the excuse 1 year later? I was willing to make the excuse last year on this day. I was not willing to make that excuse this year.
That's fair. That's very fair.
And I didn't hate the episode. I didn't hate it at all.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it for what it was, but I'm sitting here with higher expectations, and it's my fucking fault. It's my fault because I put these expectations because I think we deserve better, and it's time to get some fresh blood in that writing room.
Yeah.
And your vignettes are incredible. Your production standards are incredible. You will have transitioned what it means to be a WWE product, but time to get some young blood in that creative room.
Make
And
the shit make sense.
it's not even that. Make this shit exciting, bro.
Exciting. Yeah, maybe that's the better word.
Make it exciting. Exciting. Draw me in. Hook me in. Keep me there. The thing is, I watched Bron Breakker lose clean. He had the advantage against an old ass CM Punk. And I loved the match. The match, you know,
it was good.
It was a good match. I don't care about the botches, whatever. Shit happens in wrestling.
Right.
But it was a good match. It was the Punk pulling out the pile driver.
Oh, man.
I'm good with this stuff. Bron Breakker flying off the top rope. I'm good with it.
Great.
But solid is my expectation for every Monday.
Yeah.
Excitement is my expectation when you do a Stranger Things collaboration and you design the set and you do all this cool stuff. That's where I think WWE really dropped the ball. Shout out to Brian McCaddy for that super chat. I'm dropping another $2 super chat. That would blow the roof off. WWE Oba Royal Rumble winner.
That's the risk.
Dog, you should just go in there and toss everybody out.
Dude, WWE wants to do something fun, want to make things exciting. Hell yeah, Oba wins. Do I think it happens? No. Is it the right thing to do? Hell yeah.
But that's just the argument that like people will be like, oh, he's not proven yet, blah, blah. But like, if there was ever a time to have an NXT guy get called up and go to the Royal Rumble and win the Royal Rumble,
yeah,
you finally found your person. It would have never made sense or been believable back in the day with Shinsuke or Owens or Sammy.
My only problem is that I am such, like, I made a video and I sent it to you and I talked about it, the Sami Zayn situation that I still believe is, a great person who WWE just refuses to really put their backs behind. Although I definitely think that they should, even if it's a 3-month run. I think this is the biggest problem with WWE is that we talk about the trust and we only trust one individual or two individuals or whatever the case is, rather than taking risks like with somebody like Sami Zayn, who deserves to be a world champion in WWE and shouldn't retire without a world championship, considering the fact that Kevin Owens is a former world champion and we have yet to make him a champion. I think that would be my only gripe here, is that we would then be eliminating people who have really been there and busting their ass and really grinding it out, deserving of that moment. You can only say to somebody so much, like, hey, continue to go out there and continue to entertain the masses and continue to be the Sami Zayn that's hilarious, or the Sami Zayn that can play the heel, or the Sami Zayn that can go out there and do this or that. You can only do that so much before one individual gets tired and is like, man, like, I'm really never going to get an opportunity at this world championship, considering based on the time. And I think that's what separates a different era in time versus before. They were a little more like, oh, we can throw the championship here, or we can throw it there, versus now it's, oh, this person has to have an 8-9 month run or a 2-year run, when that doesn't necessarily need to be the case. It's all about how you book it.
Yeah. Well, one thing that's interesting to me is I always thought maybe for a while I was thinking Sammy's going to win the Royal Rumble.
For sure.
Which I would be okay with. Now, one thing I do want to throw out here that would be kind of fun. Tolino Channel said, will Braun eliminate Vision in the Royal Rumble?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that could be like a cool thing. But to me, I would like to see the Vision attack Bron Breakker.
Me too.
So that way it forces him to be a babyface.
Right.
He didn't get the job done. Theory and Bronson Reed and Logan should take him out. But I don't know. Like, there's just some things about this whole ordeal that just make me feel really strange. Like, it just seems like...
No pun intended, huh?
Yeah, no pun intended. But I feel as if there's things that WWE can do to make this exciting. So when you go over these last two super chats, like, these would be big pops, but I'm not looking for a big pop. I'm looking for something that truly gets me hooked in. I don't know if Bron Breakker eliminating the Vision, but you know it would be sick if Bron Breakker had the most eliminations in the Rumble. Theory, Logan Paul, and Bronson Reed were like, no, we're taking his ass out, and that's the heel turn.
Yep. That'd be cool.
That clears Bron Breakker.
That's telling a story in the Rumble, too. That doesn't often happen.
Which, by the way, one thing that I have praised WWE a lot on was I was very happy the last few years how Triple H has managed to create stories out of the Royal Rumble match.
Yes.
That was something I was very, very fond of. So I maybe have a little bit of confidence in WWE being able to do that this year, too. But it is something that I'm just like kind of thinking about. I'm like, you know, you got to do something. And it's not just a big pop. You got to tell the stories.
For sure.
And I'm okay with Bron Breakker going babyface. I just feel like what I kind of think here is WWE's writing team thought of the Vision. The Seth Rollins injury stuff kind of plays a role into stuff.
Oh, for sure.
But I think WWE didn't necessarily have actual plans for the Vision long term.
No, I think it was supposed to be a short term thing. I think obviously we were probably supposed to get the Bron Breakker Seth Rollins turn, but I think it was supposed to be done in a different fashion. And I think it was supposed to be with the intent that Bron Breakker would look very strong from Seth Rollins rather than CM Punk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's what it was necessarily intended for.
They got to figure it out, bro. They got to figure it out.
Yeah, they do.
They really do. And maybe I just get a little frustrated because I think WWE is such a strong product and they have so many capabilities. And
yeah,
I just don't know if they've necessarily figured it out properly. And it kind of rubs me the wrong way.
For sure.
Kind of rubs me the wrong way. They're playing it safe, dude. And it's not that I want to complain about it, but I do want to complain about it to a certain extent. I feel like playing it safe is like kind of been a detriment to their company.
Absolutely. Absolutely it has. Playing it safe ruined a lot.
And this is why I feel like NXT is just so good.
It's the best show of the week, dude. But nobody knows it because we've said it numerous times. NXT has their, core audience that watches. But other than that, nobody else is really tuning in because of how much wrestling is produced on a weekly basis. It's hard to get behind a show like NXT because it doesn't get the main stage attraction like a Monday Night Raw or a Dynamite or a Friday Night SmackDown. It doesn't have that mainstay attraction. Because it's new up-and-coming stars. It's like, bro, that's who you should be watching.
I want to throw this up here, too, because this was a very strong point of Raw. Maybe not getting as much credit as it should. Do we know what's going on with Stephanie Vakir? She was in a walking boot last night. Yeah, but she was getting her ass kicked by Raquel, so I don't know what the plan is there. I don't know.
Whooped, boy.
But I will say this, and I will give WWE props here. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm starting to get the impression that maybe they're setting Raquel up for an actual championship reign.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're trying to make Raquel the version of Raquel that we knew in NXT.
And that was last night, like the first real glimpse of NXT cool. Raquel.
She doesn't need the Judgment Day. I know that they have her there. She doesn't need them.
Well, I just imagine what kind of story now you tell with Raquel, Roxanne, and Liv Morgan.
Man,
maybe that's a triple threat match you do at WrestleMania.
It's a clashing of the heads of who has power, who's the dominant one. Yeah,
and I keep saying by WrestleMania they're going to potentially close the Judgment Day down. Finn Balor is going to go on a singles run. Is that what we're getting here? I don't know, but I thought this was a very exciting part, and I definitely did not want to forget about that because Very, very, very
Dude,
good.
my chat, the live stream yesterday, everybody, my queen, she's down.
Well, the thing about Stephanie Vakir is a lot of people like her, and a
Yeah.
lot of people aren't going to like Raquel when she does this. But I think one thing that me and you have talked about before too was Raquel is a perfect example of who took veteran advice.
Oh yeah, from
Kevin
Kevin Nash.
Nash,
Yeah.
Kevin Nash, and that was a fun story. I remember me and you talking about it live, and I was like, bro,
It's
that
like
was
the smartest
beautiful.
it's the smartest thing. It's taking constructive criticism and she's taken it so well.
She handled it like a pro, and it's enjoyable to watch. Honestly, I was
Yeah,
like,
I was
yeah, you
just
know
about to
what?
say, knowing that Kevin Nash said that made it more fun to watch Raquel because she listened.
She listened, and it's paying off for her.
Correct.
And there is this stigma online, obviously, in the IWC, is if you like the veterans are talking out of their ass, they're grifters, they're this, they're that.
Yeah.
But
No.
I feel like Raquel really took that to heart, and
Hmm.
she's really been killing it. Like it's kind of weird. Like part of me is like, you know what? Rhea Ripley is the big dominant female in the women's division, but she's a baby face. They don't really have that on Raw or SmackDown. That
Heel.
really big heel.
Yeah, it's
I'm like,
Raquel.
man, maybe this is the start of Raquel getting that opportunity, and I think it's going to be really good for her because she doesn't need a super super long reign. But if you award her and you let her do it, she's beating people up.
Hmm.
But what about Roxanne and Liv Morgan?
Dude, I'll
You
be honest
know,
with you. I want that Rhea Raquel match so bad on like a main stage.
it doesn't work unless you build Raquel up
Correct.
as
You
this
have to
massive
build Raquel.
heel.
You have to build Raquel as this dominant big monster, as she is.
Yeah,
What I see people in the chat, Big Mommy, cool. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
That's what she has to be.
it's cool stuff, man. I like it. I thought it was
Yeah,
cool. It's just we'll see how they do it.
for sure. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tonight we have NXT.
Yep.
Raquel Rodriguez is obviously not on NXT. But the reason why I'm bringing up Raquel right now is because NXT tonight, we're going to really figure out who is like, because Jordan Gracie's called up. There's
Mm-hmm.
rumors of Blake Monroe being called up.
A lot of people are
We're,
going to be going up.
there's a lot of people going up. So the thing is, I want to see how WWE NXT tonight handles the women's division
Mm-hmm.
and who makes that big statement of like, okay, 2026 is their year.
Yeah.
And the reason why I bring that up is because if you look at the women's division on NXT and compare it to Raw, there's really not a massive heel on NXT. Like JC Jane's a heel, obviously, but
Yeah,
like,
but she's not like a massive, like somebody that people are ready to rally behind.
yeah. So I want to see what NXT does, and if I'm going to be paying attention, is there somebody that can take the role of what Raquel is doing right now?
Mm-hmm.
And I
And
don't
put
I don't
place
think the
on
answer is
NXT.
yes.
I
Yeah,
don't either. I don't
I
either.
don't think that exists in NXT, which will further push my opinion towards, hey, keep pushing Raquel.
I think they could do something special with Izzy Dame, but that's just me.
I don't think they're at that point yet,
They're
but yeah,
not.
I think eventually, yes. But
Yes.
like who's in the immediate future? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either, especially when it comes down to the women's division. Like you said, Jordan's kind of going up and doing her thing. The women's division is a little tricky, but it's going to be fun to find out tonight about who's walking into this new year as the NXT World Champion. You know, we talk about Oba Femi and the potential call up and things of that nature. And then yesterday we talked a little bit about Leon Slater potentially winning the championship and bringing it over to that debut episode of TNA.
Yeah,
Tonight's NXT is going to be very interesting. There's a
I
lot on the
agree.
line tonight.
I agree. I'm super excited about it, and I can't wait to see what they do. And um, I do make the prediction that somehow, some way, Leon Slater walks out with the world title.
I'm actually going to be just because of all the vignettes that we're seeing. I know I've kind of carried a different tune, but I may actually agree with you on this one. And for some reason, you know, maybe somebody comes out and costs so, but like I know you said yesterday, the Tony D'Angelo situation and answering that question, you know, there obviously is a world where Obafemi could lose. Again, I just kind of get pissed at it because of the Javon Evans situation and how dirty I feel Javon had been done, if that's the case.
He didn't need the NXT belt, but he didn't need to be called up through that bullshit
Right,
the way
exactly.
he
So
did
I
it.
just feel that Javon, this poor guy, has just been done dirty and doesn't
Yeah.
deserve it because he is obviously outstanding. So, you know, maybe there is a world where they give it to Leon Slater, how they go about it. Or they could just go the Kevin Owens route and they just have him bring it up, and maybe they have Tony D'Angelo beat Obafemi down the line.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. It'll be nice if they do walk into that January 15th episode with the NXT Championship.
Yeah. Oh. NXT tonight on the CW. I'm excited to see what they do. I have no idea what the hell they're going to do. Yeah. This company, if there's one night a week where I know I'm going to be pretty happy, it's NXT.
Facts.
Tuesday nights. So
Facts.
I'm excited to see what they do. Excited to see how it happens, how it all unfolds. Next week, TNA goes live on AMC, so that's going to change some things. Mm-hmm. Maybe tonight, there's some things that lead for that. But nonetheless, I'm pretty happy. I do want to give a couple shout-outs. If anybody has last-minute super chats, get them in now. Shout out to AM, UMT3H, Brian McCaddy, Tolino Channel. Thank you guys all for your super chats. I do appreciate it sincerely. Shout out to everybody in the chat who comes in and contributes to a healthy conversation.
Healthy, baby.
I'm going to be monitoring this a lot more because there's some people, and I'm noticing this on my YouTube comments on a daily basis. I'm noticing that there's a lot of people who tend to just really ruin the vibes. And
I know.
This is the year that I'm staying positive and I'm not dealing with that bullshit.
Dude. And here to have a good time, bro.
Yeah, so
we're here to talk about pro wrestling. Watch your wrestling, enjoy it however the hell you want to. We're just two guys on the internet talking about it.
Exactly. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll call it a show. Beautiful conversation. Make sure you guys check out Billy TKO. Billy, are you watching along NXT tonight?
Yes, sir.
So make sure you guys check it out. 8 p.m. NXT. Billy will do a watch along. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button, ring that bell, do all that good stuff. News videos dropping all day, clips dropping all day.
We working, baby.
2026, man. 2026. It's a beautiful day, beautiful year. Hopefully everybody has a good one. And
we're back tomorrow.
We'll see you guys next time. Yeah.
All right.
Peace.